At SXM, we're taking travel and tourism to new heights. Here we boast spacious check-in areas, 10 passport control points, comfortable departure lounges, and an exciting new airport mall. Finally, there's an airport in the Caribbean that takes your travel plans as seriously as you do. Princess Juliana International Airport. The experience will move you.
So they let everybody go? Everybody just get out? How's that possible? Are we started? Oh, hey! Welcome to what we call Dick Court. Of course, I am your honorable judge, Judge Dick. Be careful. You don't want to get judged by the Dick. I'm still working on my slogan, all right? Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Now, today, of course, we continue to steal the PDF files of the Daily Herald as far as the newspaper is concerned. Thank you so much to those that share it on a constant basis every day. Thank you. All right. This is a story that turned a lot of heads, and that is when the court of first instance reduced the sentence of a child rapist by 5 years. 5 years. The story goes as follows. The Joint Court of Justice on Tuesday reduced the sentence of convicted child rapist Joy Walters, 36 years old, from 13 years of prison to 8. From 13 years to 8, as the appellate judges considered the former primary school secretary less accountable because of her own psychological issues. The best thing to do is to tell the court that she was crazy and you didn't know better, and therefore, I just, did a little bit of raping. I didn't do a lot. It was just like a tad bit. I don't understand. That's like almost killing somebody. I killed them almost. Like it was just like 2 stabs. If I did give him 3 stabs, he would have been dead. But I kind of like put him in the ICU. Anyway, in July 2022, the court of first instance found main suspect Bernard Strout, 53 years old, and extramarital lover Walters guilty of raping and molesting 4 girls over a period of several years. The victims, all pupils of the schools where Walters worked, were between 5 and 11 years old at the time. The lower court sentenced Strout and Walters to 17 to 13 years in prison, respectively. Walters initially pleaded innocence but changed her tune during the lower court trial in June of 2022. At the time, she claimed to be a victim of a long-time lover, Strout, with whose wife Walters also had a sexual relationship with. It was a situationship. Okay. Walters told the court that she brought the girls to her home for tutoring and then delivered them to Strout, who lived 2 doors down the street in Belvedere. She also admitted to having sex with Strout and one of the girls at the same time. He said to see if they were good. It's hard to read. Pete, put it on the screen, please. Okay. He said to see if they were good freaks, if they had liked to have sex, and I bring them by him, she told the investigators in an interview leading up to the appeals trial. I'm sorry, I have girl children, so it hurts. 5 to 11 years old, and you want to find out if they're freaks? What are you, R. Kelly? And he just started off at, 13? Oh, okay. Although ruling that Walters deliberately abused her position of trust and authority over the children, the panel of 3 appellate judges followed the advice of the psychiatrist, who, after examining Walters multiple times over the past 2 years, concluded that she is less accountable for the crimes. Who is that psychiatrist? What do you mean? She's less accountable. She brought the children to the molesters. So how is he not let me continue reading. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. The psychiatrist found that Walters is dependent on others, sexually traumatized, and childlike when dealing with adults. The mental health professional also recommended that Walters receive clinical treatment to minimize the risk of her committing a similar crime in the future. The defendant's behavior is based on a complex personality problem, which has its origins in the circumstances under which she herself grew up, the judges said in their verdict. Sometimes I wonder if the judges end up being psychiatrists too, because they just self-diagnosing the person, diagnosing the person like, yeah, okay, this is what she was thinking, this is not her fault, therefore, instead of so much years, let me just take off 5, man. Be a little bit lenient. The kid's going to be less raped. TBS, not possible. The judges said they would have imposed a so-called TBS measure on Walters if the option were available in St. Martin. What's a TBS? I know. I think it's the same thing. A TBS measure usually commits a convicted person to a special institution for clinical treatment tailored to their disorder or mental illness. However, St. Martin has no institutions that can facilitate TBS, and clinical treatment is not possible at the Point Blanche prison. Meaning to say, we don't have any facilities for people who have severe mental health issues, because Mental Health Foundation and Mental Health Foundation, that's the only one we have on the Dutch side, overdosing or injecting people who are a bit clinically depressed or stressed or have issues that you're trying to put your finger on, it's not the way to go. And trust me, I know. Because you can go there and you could, have an episode and all they do is and they just like hoping that you just like end up being a zombie after a while, and you just getting over-injected by these crazy people. Anyway, let's continue. The court therefore put great emphasis on the fact that it is both desirable and necessary that St. Martin makes the right arrangements to provide adequate psychiatric treatment of the defendant. It was stated in the verdict, because it does not appear that the defendant treatment in prison will be possible within a reasonable period of time. The court assumes that the prosecutor's office will make an effort to obtain treatment in another country in the kingdom during the execution of the prison sentence, meaning nothing going to happen because nobody have money to do anything else but to lock you up and hope that you become a better person after you come out. Right? Right. Okay. The judges said they did not reduce Walter's sentence only because of her diminished criminal liability, but also because of her confession. Oh, this is good. It is worth noting that with her confession, the defendant has not only taken the responsibility for the misery that she has caused to her victims, but also that she hereby acknowledges that those victims told the truth about what happened to them. It was stated in the verdict. The court sentencing guidelines call for a prison term of 4 years for raping a child under the age of 12 years old. However, the sentence can be increased. However, the sentence can be increased for several reasons, such as abuse of authority or trust. whether there are multiple victims, and if the crime occurred over a long period of time. During the appeals trial last month, the Solicitor General had demanded the joint court to sentence Walters to 10 years in prison, and the prosecutor in the lower court trial had requested the same punishment. Okay. Well, you know, it's a touchy subject, but it's not a subject that we should just ignore. And understand that the only time that you will actually care about a rape case is when somebody you know, or somebody you're related to, or a friend of yours, an acquaintance, is directly involved. And we should move away from being so on the individual side and go towards what actually matters. And what really matters is the fact that we need to have a sex offenders registry. I know, we said it for so many times. We've been asking for it for years. You have politicians that promised us this particular fact. It does not even cost us a friction to make a sex offenders registry. Because you know what happens? If you have a sex offenders registry, you literally will have an opportunity to know who is in your neighborhood, who lives in your neighborhood, who you live next door to. Because that sex offenders registry will allow the same sex offender, when they're out and they move into a new a neighborhood, they have to go into the entire neighborhood, door to door, and say, hi, my name is Bill. I am obligated by law to let you know that I am a registered sex offender. However, I have spent my time in jail. I will not be looking at your children if you have one or two or how much. So I just letting you know, I live in next door. Don't ask me to babysit. But no, instead, what we do is, they did the time. Give him a chance again. And you're right? You give him a chance again, yes. Because I believe in reform, don't get me wrong. Oh, yeah. But at the same time, how do you prevent something like this from happening again and again? All right. In other great news from the court of first instance, there is a verdict that was handed down for the robbing and kidnapping situation that happened months ago. I'm not talking about the one recently at the Port of Business. We're going to talk about that just now. But the one I'm talking about is the defendant that walked away free because of the verdict in the armed robbery kidnapping case. All right, so let me jump into it right away. Just one day after standing trial in the court of first instance on armed robbery and kidnapping charges, a man, MTA, 33 years old, was released from the Point Blank prison on Thursday, although the verdict is not due for another 3 weeks. However, A, who has been living in St. Martin without a residence permit, was immediately handed over to the Immigration and Border Protection Services. He is set to be deported to his native Trinidad and Tobago on Friday. A's lawyer, Brenda Brooks, confirmed her client's release and pending deportation to the Daily Herald on Thursday evening. Brenda Brooks said, myself and my colleague, Taisha Hymans, along with the rest of the team of Brooks and Associates, she was just like advertising herself there, boy. That's a whole sentence there. Me, Brenda Brooks, my colleague, this person, and we here at Brooks Associates. That's a good ploy there, boy. You don't want to know, you want to get free? Call Brooks Associates. Illegal immigration, illegal immigrant, no problem. Call Brooks Associates. We will get you free. Okay, sorry. are truly happy with the judge's decision in order to immediately release our client. Haha, after dedicating the time and the energy in the case and getting positive results, it reassures us that it is all worthwhile to do what we do best, and that is to fight people's rights. Please! Or you just get paid. Stop. Stop it. Stop it. How they making it sound like they just doing this out of the goodness of their heart? We just out there defending clients because we love you. Don't pay us. We do this because we love it. I ain't troubling Brenda Brooks' law firm, but it's just funny how it was placed as a comment in the story. Is like, we take pride in what we do and the way we represent, and we let you like, okay, no, that's what you get paid for. A and our co-defendants SEOC are accused of a total of 8 crimes, which include armed robbery, kidnapping, fencing, assault, gun possession, and threatening with a weapon. Oh, wait a minute. So, and he's free? It's a good thing I am off island right now. Thank you for the satellite, the speed coming through the cameras. I should have probably read these stories before I go off on them. He's free. Somebody lock the doors. We got surveillance cameras, right? Okay, good. Let me lower my voice here. The latter was originally charged as attempted murder manslaughter, but the prosecutor said during Wednesday's trial that he did not consider a homicide charge proven. CNA denied the involvement during the 9-hour trial. Brooks and C lawyer Shira Bummel pleaded for full acquittals, arguing that there is lack of legal and convincing evidence for the conviction. Considering the defendants guilty on all counts, the prosecutor had demanded a 12-year prison sentence with a deduction of time served in pretrial detention. Although the judge will render a verdict in the case on March 6, he has now decided that A's continued detention is no longer necessary. I would just like to say that at the end of the day, we all did time, and we need to start over in a new place, not particularly St. Martin, but, keep up the good faith. The door lock? Listen, let's take a commercial break, and when we come back, more the court, because I ain't doing it.
Hi, Mom.
How are you?
Hi, darling. I'm fine. Just calling to say hi.
Oh, okay. We got over here.
Girl, I hear watching this movie and it.
But Mom, you finished all your minutes yet?
No, girl. Talem has new postpaid plans and automatically upgraded my postpaid package.
Is that so?
Guess what? I am getting more minutes and almost double the amount of data for the same price.
I guess I'm making a switch now.
Let me call you back, Mom.
Hey Tash, you hear about Tell him new postpaid plans?
Okay, we're back. Let's continue the story. Being released before the verdict is unusual but not unheard of. In the Dutch legal system, the judge can release a suspect from custody at any stage of the criminal proceeding. His immediate release may indicate that the judge does not see enough proof of his guilt and is leaning toward a full acquittal. Okay, kind of presumptuous, but okay. But I believe that he will go free. Free my... Why you beep it, Pete? It's 2024. I can't say that word. Come on, man. I mean, this woke culture, man. Jesus. Anyway. It can also mean that he will only be found guilty of the lesser crimes in the indictment, and the punishment will be less than the time he has already spent in jail. The judge ordered C's release a month ago, ruling in the pro forma hearing that the evidence tying C to the robbery was insufficient to keep him locked up in the cell at the Point Man's prison. In total, C and A each spent about 310 days behind bars because of this case. However, even if the judge finds C and A not guilty next month, their legal troubles may not be over. The prosecution has the right to appeal the lower court's verdict, which will send the case to be tried in the Joint Court of Justice. Now, the allegations. During Wednesday's trial, the prosecutor argued that C and A were part of a five-man team who robbed Island Treasure Jewelers in Maho on the night of January 16, 2023. One of the robbers smashed the display cases with a metal ram, while the others shoveled no fewer than 260 pieces of jewelry into a black bag. One man also fired a shot which left the bullet hole in the rolling shutter of the neighboring store. The robbers were in and out in less than 2 minutes, fleeing with a white van towards Lowlands with approximately $278,000 worth of diamond and gold jewelry. The prosecutor also suspected C and forcing two youngsters into a vehicle, making them reveal information about now convicted armed robber Delancio Chino Katikrom. Shame on me, boy. I'm from Suriname and I can't even say a Suriname last name. Katokromo. Okay. Katokromo has broken into A's home on March 1st, 2023 and made off with clothing, electronic $7,000 in cash, and according to the prosecutor office, the stolen jewels. Why you have $7,000 at home, blood? What's going on with you? Who just keeps... Well, yeah, the banks are trash, so I understand. C&A told the court on Wednesday that they had gone to Katokromo's house to retrieve their belongings that day after learning that he was responsible for the burglary. However, both defendants denied that they had guns and fired shots at the scene. They also denied forcing a 17-year-old friend of Katokromo to get into their car, or that they had interrogated him until he gave up the location of the goods stolen from A's apartment. Both defendants disputed the prosecutor's allegation and that they mainly wanted to get back the vast quantity of jewelry originally taken in the Maho robbery. Similarly, C&A told the court that they had pressured a 15-year-old to reveal the whereabouts of Katokromo's burglary accomplice on March 4th, 2023. Both youngsters appeared in court on Wednesday, testifying that they had not been kidnapped. So they recanted. So let me say that again. Hold on. Both youngsters appeared in court on Wednesday, testifying that they had not been kidnapped. They just went for a drive, Your Honor. So it wasn't kidnap, it was just, talking with friends. Is that good? No? Yes? Okay, cool. I would do the same thing. You crazy? Last September, the Court of First Instance found Kati Kromo guilty of burglary of A's home on March 1st, 2023. He also was convicted of armed robbery, threatening a weapon in possession of marijuana, which stems from unrelated incidents. Kati Kromo is now serving a 6-year sentence at the Point Blanche prison. I've got to say goodnight to all the Point Blanche prisoners. If you're watching, hello. The evidence. The prosecutor on Wednesday primarily used wiretap conversations, cell phone tower data, and items found in later house searches to support his theory of defendant's guilt. Now, I got questions. I got questions. Hold on. The prosecutor on Wednesday primarily used wiretap conversations. Does this mean that our phones are tapped? No, serious. So all our phones, I don't believe it. All our phones are tapped until we commit a crime, and then they just pull up the receipts and they play the recording. Basically, that's what the prosecutor... Wiretap conversation. Wait, why are you wiretapping me in the first place? Did you get permission to wiretap me? You just wiretapping people out here? CNA became suspects in the jewelry store robbery investigation after police received information that they had been involved. The prosecutor told the court. Oh. Okay, so basically they became suspects. So then they were wiretapped afterwards. And then they get evidence because people out there like, yeah, so listen, when you gonna get a change for me from the robbery we did last week at this jewelry store? Hey, shit, no, we on the line. Call me on WhatsApp. It's encrypted. No, it's not. It says it's encrypted. It doesn't mean that they can't tap it. They just, yeah, they just tap it. And they tell you word for word what you say. Anyway. In another kidnapping case of the Port of Plaisance kidnapping, where a young lady was kidnapped by two persons, one local, one from Belize. The Belize worker, the Belize national who's been working illegally in St. Martin for quite some time, had a relationship with the young woman that he kidnapped. So he basically kidnapped his ex, together with somebody else that decided to be the accomplice by driving the vehicle to go kidnap something. For the life of me, I do not understand how somebody would call somebody up and say, yo, blood, listen, this girl getting on my nerves. I want to kill her. Can you pick me up around 10 o'clock? And then we just pick her up from work. And then we go deal with that quick. Maybe have some McDonald's after. Yeah, it's a Friday night anyway. Cool. All right, cool, bet. All right, cool, yeah, later. Shit, I should have used WhatsApp. Shit. Anyway, it's not a laughing matter but she wasn't killed. She didn't die, okay? So, can make a joke about it. If she died, then, yeah, I would be more sensitive. In any case, to give you an update on the case, the driver has been released until the trial. And the Belize national is currently in the hands of the immigration department that will be deporting him back to Belize with a 10-year ban, which is ridiculous because if you kidnap my daughter or you kidnap somebody that I know, there's no way in hell you're going to just get a 10-year ban and then you could just come through the French side. You could just come back here through the French side. Because the way immigration works, and many people don't know this, I call it the hack. Immigration officers can't be out here patrolling these streets. If they patrol the streets, they have to patrol it with the police. Yeah. So contrary to popular belief, there will never be a time where somebody does immigration, open up, get me your ID card, show me your papers. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. The only way they can catch you is if literally you are so stupid to go to an immigration checkpoint or somewhere a checkpoint, and they go like, you know you're illegal, right? They're like, yeah, okay, well, come with me. That's the only time. Otherwise, Sarah, happy Immigration Day. All right, so basically he is going back to Belize until trial and will be charged in absentia. So therefore, we shall see what happens. Okay. The end of the court. Thank you so much for watching. My final thoughts. How you behave. They ain't got no space in Point Blanche, but I don't mean they ain't gonna find space for you. Theo?
Flashback.
How's our country running? The 2024 parliamentary campaign is gaining momentum with a few new surprises. But people want to know from the current ministers what has been done during their term. There is also the issue of what has been accomplished during these past 4 years or so. So joining me today to talk about these issues and more is my colleague at TV15 and host of Late Night with Andrew Dick. Andrew is going to grade them today as we will be issuing each of them a report card. So Andrew, welcome back. You did your numbers.
Yes.
Who gets an A, who gets a B, who gets a C, who gets a D, and who gets an F?
I walk with my red pen. So thank you so much for having me again on the show.
It's always good to have you here,
yes.
Andrew. Okay, but before we go into what has been done, let's talk a bit about the new developments.
Oh, yes.
It seems like every day there's something new happening, Andrew. We have parties that have, party leaders who have said, you're leaving my party right there, and you do right here, and you do what you want to do. You have others who have closed down their party more or less and joined others. So talk to us about that.
Okay, so we have the PPA from Gracita Arenal. They are not contesting the upcoming elections. Dr. Anders Gracita Arenal will be joining the URSM of Dr. Luc Messalina. Interesting move, but you can never say that it's over until postulation, because it's important that I give that disclaimer, because most of the time we assume so much things or we predict so much things beforehand, and then on postulation itself you get surprises out of this world. Sometimes you see names that you thought would have been on another party with a different party. You see other parties who registered come back from the dead. So it's important for me to also give the disclaimer that, postulation, with postulation coming up, it's important to know that as soon as postulation arrives is when we would be sure that everything is concrete 100%. So right now we're just going based on assumptions and announcements from the candidates and what we're hearing on the ground. to answer your question, so PPA being one that's not going to run for the upcoming elections, so they say. Then you have also the from the Christian Party,
St. Martin Christian Party.
St. Martin Christian Party, just about two elections old, and on the second one, they didn't make it back. On the first try, they did get in with one seat, and they were part of the United People's Party and the the United Democrats and the Christian Party government. So they governed for a little while, and then of course government fell, and then elections came, and they were not rewarded based on the fact that you had the Deputy Prime Minister and also Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports, Wycliffe Smith, the leader of the Christian Party, as the one who didn't do much according to the voters out there.
What were their contention with? What was their issue with him that he didn't do much?
I think where things started to go a bit left was when the Christian Party stayed with government during the time that MP at the time, Theo Heiliger, was arrested. Because the Christian Party heavily campaigned during the election prior to that, prior to joining the United Democrats, that they were a party that they were not going to be serving in government with anybody who's under suspicion or arrested or any kind. And then you had a situation where I think MP Heiliger got in some legal issues, and also MP Brownbill was also in some, some issues. And that's when, people started to go like, okay, so the Christian Party is going to pull out because they campaign on this.
Right.
And they didn't go anywhere. They said, no, they believe in stability, and therefore they're going to continue. And everybody saw that as the good minister being a bit flip-floppy, wishy-washy on the fact that, okay, so first, they didn't expect that from a Christian party.
Exactly, exactly. We are a Christian community, and we believed in him, and then he disappointed us.
By doing that and sticking with the government, and he was very, and that's what he campaigned on, and the voters spoke. He did not get back a seat. He was not re-elected, and therefore, because of that, now we're hearing that he, hung up his political leadership of the Christian Party.
But did he dissolve the party?
No, it doesn't work like that. You could just deregister, or you could decide not to run. Because he didn't get elected during the last election, you just registered as a political party still.
But wasn't he the founder of the party?
Yes, he is, yes.
Okay,
So he just...
Up and now he's going over to...
Well, that's what they're saying, that he's intend to join the Democratic Party for the next election. Of course, it's just speculation for now because, again, surprises, or you could be unhappy after a while, or you couldn't say that, you're... you don't align yourself with them anymore, so therefore you might go back to your original plan, which is to go with your own party or go with another party completely. But it's heavy in the community that Pastor Smith will be going with the Democratic Party, and it's not a surprise really because of the working relationship between the leader of the Democratic Party, Sarah Westcott Williams, and also Wycliffe Smith has been for decades, the relationship that they had as far as working together. When she was commissioner of education, he was the department head for the education department.
But people are seeing this as a completely different, how would I say, backstabbing, not backstabbing, but, he can't make up his mind, in other words. Yeah. And if you can't make up your mind, but you're going to join another party now, what does that say? The voters, nobody's going to vote.
Yeah, but
people are going to be upset with him, put it that way.
You see, that's the thing. Usually St. Martin voters,
And don't you come with this, St. Martin, not a real place.
No,
okay?
I won't say it here. But I need to give you my point.
Okay, clarify.
Clarify. St. Martin voters are funny. One, they forget quick.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Two, in the heat of the campaign, they go with the hype most of the time. And sometimes they don't, because a good example of that is the PFP. They was not part of the hype during the last elections. And look, they get 2 seats out of nowhere. Everybody was like, wait, what? No political analyst on St. Martin said, hey, watch out for the PFP, because it was a new party.
A new
and they only
party,
had
a young
7,
party,
yeah,
yeah.
and they only had 7, 8 candidates.
Yeah.
Nobody was watching them. So everybody was like, oh, okay, that's so cute. You know, they're gonna do okay. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe they might get 1 seat. And then boom, they get 2 seats, and everybody was like, wait a minute now. PFP, you know, so
They came out of left field.
they came out of left field, and they did not do the traditional campaigning
yeah.
of the other parties. They hadn't do any interviews. You know, they just
I don't
did
think
their
anybody
own.
took them serious, right?
No, not that.
Nobody took them really
No, nobody
serious.
took them that serious.
They were a bunch of young Turks, and they were just going to throw themselves in there, but they surprised
And they surprised everybody, and they fought also to be part of the elections, because if you remember, the registration period was over, and they had to appeal to the Dutch to basically pressure St. Martin for the registration to take place for the new parties, and that's how, you know, you had the SAM party and also the PFP party, you know, registered for the elections. So. It's St. Martin voters sometimes can surprise you, but then at the same time, you have to go based on the pool of voters that we have for the past 3 elections. Let me say the past 3 elections, and it's always less than 50%. You know, last time we had 51%, and everybody was like, "Hurrah!" And I was like, "Wait a minute, what? 51%, and we're celebrating,
right.
like let's celebrate when we get 75, 85, 90%, you know."
But I think what happened, that people were disappointed with this constant every year
Election.
and a
Yeah,
half
the
election,
snap
and it was like,
elections.
listen, I am not bothering myself with that.
Yeah, correct.
But let's also talk about the Christian Party.
Yeah.
I'm also hearing that there's a new leader.
Well, from what I'm hearing, it is a new Christian party.
So it's not the old
it's
Christian
not the
party
same Christian party
from
of Wycliffe Smith, but it's a new Christian party that Miss Alicia Livingpool might head. That's what we're hearing. You know, again, you have so much assumptions and so much people talk, but unless you hear it from them
Right.
themselves,
From the horse's mouth, as they say.
you know, then it becomes concrete, and then we know that, you know, this is okay, another party to add to the already 8 parties we have. So then we'll have 9 political parties for these upcoming elections, and then if you don't watch out, you know, you hear that Lyndon Brown also will be starting his political party. Then we have 10. I mean, might as well we just have a number of political parties running.
Let's talk briefly about that. Lyndon Brown starting his own party. I mean,
Yeah.
is this a joke, or is he serious
I
about
hope
this?
it is a joke, Valerie, and you know, I mean this in the nicest way, because I don't know what the party would, first of all, consist of, because I hear it's the Party for Justice is what I'm hearing. But I'm like, okay, but justice for what? Justice for who? I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know. You see, I'm struggling to find words, because I know I don't want to make your show into mine.
Thank you for that one.
So I'll reserve my full comments, but I do believe that everyone has a right to contest, you know, the parliamentary elections. That's why we have a democracy. It's a democracy. So let's not, you know, just deter people from trying to, you know, represent the country that they're living. But at the same time, I hope let's not make it into
Puppet show?
a puppet show, a joke, because I mean this is serious business, and parliamentarians as much as we've been having so much issues
We already
over the
don't look
years.
good from the outside.
Yes.
To have somebody like that come in now, it's like, are you serious? But
What are we? I mean, okay, let's see what plans he has, if any, and then we go from there. But just the announcement of
have you spoken to him at all? I know you're not afraid to talk to anybody anyway.
No.
Have you approached him and asked him what is he thinking or if he's serious about this?
most of the time
Or
when
is it going to be a part of one,
Valerie,
Are you planning on talking to him?
I plan on talking to all the parties. The question is, do they plan to talk to me?
Talk to you, right?
But if he does, then I'll handle him accordingly on the late night, as far as highlighting the different candidates, because we do go on an information mode as soon as the campaigning starts, because of course the fluff pieces have begun. People just talking for talking's sake, try to get as much attention as possible, so that they can get the electorate to pay attention to them. But I always like to remind the electorate of, okay, but let's remember what this person has done. Let's remember. And I guess that's where we're gonna go with this squad.
Yeah, so that's a good lead into what is happening now. When is postulation day, first of all?
Well, usually postulation day happens. You see, the thing is, because we're so used to snap elections, Valerie, it happens 3 months prior to. But I believe in the law, it's, don't hold me to that, but I believe it's supposed to be 6 months prior to the elections. Yeah, that's the way we.
Coming up, yes,
yeah,
it's
so
coming
because
up
there's
soon.
a registration period, and then after the registration period, then you have the postulation, and then from postulation on, you can start a campaign, start to put on your billboards and so on. But usually, because we always do this snap election business, the Council of Ministers, the Prime Minister then determines, okay, you have 2 months for this, and then 3 months for this, and then elections. Because this is going to be our first normal elections, it's supposed to be 6 months. But otherwise to that, it might be 3 months. Depends on how the Prime Minister who's in charge of that plans it.
So it's going to be regular elections. It's not going to, the government isn't going to fall, that we have to call it early elections in December sometime.
I don't have a crystal ball, but you're hearing, of course.
What are you hearing? That
I'm
we're going to
hearing-
go through the entire 4 years.
Oh no, I'm hearing every day that it's going to fall. Everybody.
know.
That's one of the reasons why I think we're here now. Because of the fact that people are already going on programs and already on social media heavily, starting to defend what they've done and what they didn't do, or what they're going to do, or giving them another chance. So it's already starting. So I think that the election period is going to be interesting, but it's already started. It's gearing up, like you said in your intro.
Okay. So now let's talk. We have 4 years, so now we need to grade them so that we know who we're going to go for come election day. So we've got 7 ministers, 8 actually, but 7 residing here because we're including the minister plenipotentiary Rene Violinas. It doesn't really, how would you say, affect us as much. So
Yeah, well, he should, but yes, I understand what you mean. You don't see him on a daily basis, so that
Exactly.
means people don't
We know
really
what he's
count him.
doing. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So let's start with the highest vote getter, Minister of Romy.
Yes.
What grade will you be giving Minister of Romy? What has he done? How has he lived up to his campaign promises? And what hasn't he been able to accomplish? Although he still has maybe another 6 months.
Couple of months,
Yeah.
a couple of months. My grade for him is a D.
Wow. Okay.
And why I say a D is because with the highest vote getter, the first wrong move he made as minister was change ministries when he was re-elected. He ran as the Minister of Justice. He then was elected as a Member of Parliament based on the fact that he said he wanted to continue as the Minister of Justice. As soon as he was elected, he then changed seats in the Council of Ministers and became the Minister of Romy. I find that was a deception to the voter because he doesn't acknowledge it up to this day, but most justice workers voted for him during the last elections.
Okay.
That's every analyst knows that, and that's the reason why he received so much votes, because he was able to, bring home the beef for some of the justice workers and get the 50% or whatever percentage that they calculated at a time to the police officers, and they rewarded him by voting for him because he said, "Let me continue, because you see, I can do it."
But he had a short time as Minister of Justice. Do you think he would have been an effective Minister of Justice for the past 4 years had he stayed then?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. I think so. However, I think he saw the red flags. He saw how difficult it would get. And I guess that's what made his decision to change. I can't speak for him.
Justice is not an easy
it's not.
portfolio
No, it's
at
not.
all.
700 plus workers. You always have to deal with their status hasn't been worked on since 10, and you are inheriting all of this while trying to deal with the safety and security of the country on a daily basis. It's not an easy position for anybody.
Yeah.
So
he's young.
so we thought that, but he changed. So that's one factor that's the reason why I give him a D, because I felt like it was deception, because, that's where most people voted for you for. And then you just changed and went to Romy. And you say, okay, all right, maybe he's going to do better there. But then what do we complain about up to this day? It's the roads. And yes, we've noticed that the road situation has gotten a little bit improved after the King's visit.
Thank God the King came.
But you see, it took only 3 years.
They didn't have money.
It only took 3 years.
They didn't have money.
But you have to keep in COVID into consideration. You have to also keep in having to deal with the aftermath and the economy after COVID. So you have to be also a little bit balanced when it comes to their grading, because yes, but then again, during the time everybody was home, you got to fix the roads.
That is what I was saying. And I told him, I interviewed him, and I asked him why didn't he use that opportunity during COVID to fix the roads. There was no money. That is what I was told. So I had to go with that. But where did the money come from afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, they find money for different things. So for me, that's a bad excuse. But in any case, the
Front Street still doesn't look the way it should look.
Listen, up to Cold Bay, there's certain places, there's places that you can see the improvement, and there's places where you can see deterioration. It's really bad. And more can be done. And yes, plans were in the pipeline, and plans are announced, and like Dutch Quarter, let me not even start with that project. That was supposed to continue, and it's not the minister's fault, but then who do we blame? So based on the different issues, and also facing a motion of no confidence, having a motion of disapproval approved by majority of parliament also, so he doesn't have much to run on for the upcoming election, but there are some NRPB projects that he can say, that he can take credit for. So I guess maybe that's going to be his angle for the next elections. But I give him a D.